Welcome. You're officially locked into Persuasions of Comfort. I am your host, Naum.
That's 100.
I want to give a big shout out to all the listeners out there who've been tuning in since day one. The love and support is 100% greatly appreciated. Let's get it. The topic of discussion for today revolves around intentions, and I'm very excited about this episode. It's a very special one for 3 reasons. 1, this is my first guest episode of the year. 2, the topic that we're about to dive into is very essential. And 3, my guest, Anel Cologne, who's going to help me dive into this topic a little bit deeper. Welcome to the show, Anel.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited. It's been a minute.
Yes, it has been a minute. And first of all, I want to thank you for your patience, and I appreciate you for taking time out of your busy schedule to kick it with me on this episode. All right, so let's dive in a little bit, and I want to start off with your background. So, Anel, you grew up in the South Bronx, daughter of Dominican parents, and you saw how they worked to build a life for you and themselves in New York. From an early age, you witnessed how mindset, adaptability, and wellness played a role in shaping opportunities and long-term success. And you also witnessed firsthand how the lack of intentionality in areas of your life could create barriers, while deliberate choices could transform both individual and collective outcomes. Starting off with your profession and your lifestyle, can you talk to us about why intentionality is a central aspect in your life, and what does it really mean to you when you think about the term or the word intentionality?
Yeah, so for me, intentionality is a part of not just how I'm pursuing my professional goals, but it's also about how I'm pursuing my personal. In fact, it really starts there. I think if I'm not intentional with my thoughts, my beliefs, with how I move, with my actions, then that it could create a negative ripple effect in every other aspect of my life. So for me, intentionality is really like aligning my actions, my thoughts, and my beliefs with my habits and what I'm doing on a daily basis.
Nice. I love that. So when I think about intentionality, what it means for me is the act of living within my purpose, right? Making decisions that align my actions with my intentional core values. And in addition to that, I'm creating a mindset where deliberate actions that I take move me towards desired outcomes that I have for my life.
Mm-hmm.
Oftentimes when intentionality comes to mind, I'm not only thinking about my daily goals, my day-to-day. I'm also considering short and long-term goals. I would love to hear your perspective on how do you make sure that your intentions not only align with your daily goals, but also your short and long-term goals as well.
Yeah, so some people might think it's excessive, but I have this really particular way that I go about setting goals and making intentions. And what I'll share is, for context, years ago, I was working crazy hours when I was an administrator at a school. I was working with some of my best friends that I met in California, and we were sitting down one day and we were like, yo, we work so hard on our day-to-day in our profession. We put so much thought and intention behind everything we do when it comes to running this school. How about we apply that same level of intention behind our personal lives and our long-term goals? And so that really kicked off this new sort of way of goal setting and intention for me, where I literally have a deck. And so I plan out everything I want to accomplish between now and I have literally it's a 1 to 10 year plan.
Wow.
And I literally break down every aspect of my life, from this is how I want to be spiritually. This is what I want to achieve this year. This is what I want to achieve as far as personal, family, relationships. Like, I really break it down, because I think when it comes to intention, just like you said, it's not just about the day to day, but like, how are you trying to get to the quote unquote end goal? So that's how I go about really thinking through those goals. I think about what I'm trying to achieve, and then what are the baby steps, the compound effects that will lead to getting there.
You know what? That is amazing to actually have a 10-year plan. I most recently created a 5-year plan back in 2020, and I've reached those goals. And just like we mentioned, it's not just about the day-to-day, but the short-term and long-term. What are the steps, the compound effects, or the compound steps that will get us to that end goal? And you mentioned how you have a set plan for everything that you do, which means you have a deadline. And it just reminds me of one of my favorite quotes: a goal without a deadline is just a dream. And I want to follow up that quote with another quote by the same person, Denzel Washington. Do not confuse movement with progress, because you could be running in place and going nowhere.
I love that.
Previously, I asked a question which focuses on alignment, making sure that your intentions and values connect with your goal. The next question I want to ask is similar, but it emphasizes intentional action, distinguishing between being truly purposeful and staying busy. Can you give us your perspective on how do you ensure that you're approaching your daily goals with real intention, so that they do support your short-term and long-term goals, instead of convincing yourself that being busy is the same thing as being intentional?
That's real. That's real. Because I think you could absolutely be busy but not be intentional. So for me, it starts with literally the beginning of the day. Every single day I wake up and I pray. I have a ritual. I think about what it is I want to feel that day. I think about what conversations I might have, what meetings I'm going to have, who I'm going to, meet up with. And I think that is what allows me to stay anchored and true to those long-term goals, because I wake up and I'm thinking about it. I don't think I go a day without honestly thinking about what is it that I'm trying to achieve long-term. And I know I said earlier, I do have that 10-year plan, but I also give myself some flexibility, and I also have it so that it's not like I have every single year planned. I have a 1, 3, 5, and 10-year goal. So I think that also comes with allowing some sort of flexibility in that, because things change, things shift. And so I try to keep that in mind every day too. Like, I might wake up and feel, okay, I could give 1,000% today, or I might wake up and something threw me off, and I have to be a little flexible with how I'm setting that intention that day. I might not hit every single thing, and that's okay, because I'm human. So I like to keep all of that in mind.
Well said. I love your perspective on that, and I want to piggyback off something that you said that rang true for me, was the morning rituals, right? For me, if I don't do my morning devotion, my yoga, my meditation, and slide out to the gym, I kind of feel like I'm not in control. I feel like I'm just kind of going through the motions. Making sure that those things are done first thing in the morning before I do anything else is essential to how I go about my day. And I realized that stretching before bed is also beneficial to how I get quality sleep, right? And that's also setting the intention the night before for how I want to start my day, right? And I love your perspective on thinking about the conversations that you're going to have, the type of meetings that you're going to be in, the type of people that you're going to meet, and how it allows you to stay anchored to your true long-term and short-term goals. I just love that. And I'm actually going to try to start implementing that type of mindset professionally, and then try to see how that works socially and in my personal life as well. But the key driver to your response that I want to re-emphasize for the listeners is that you make room for flexibility, right? Because you don't know how things are going to turn out, even though you already have it planned. But having some level of flexibility to be able to adjust to what comes your way is the major key.